Hello, welcome to the Office of Child Care Back to School Time Changes webinar. My name is Lisa Roman and I'm a Child Care Program Specialist in the Office of Child Care. Thank you for taking the time to view this webinar. Your questions can be emailed to occ@utah.gov at any time. Please note, in the webinar, we will be giving instructions for reporting changes through the DWS Provider Portal. However, until the portal is functioning correctly, please continue to report all changes by email. We will notify providers when the portal system is working properly. We all know it can be confusing when a lot of change is happening at one time, such as the end of the school year or the start of a new school year, when children change from full-time to part-time, new children start care, and some end care. With subsidy policy changes added to the mix, more confusion may ensue. In this webinar, we hope to reassure you that the changes can be managed. We will review the new change reporting requirements under Pay by Enrollment, how to update rates timely for upcoming changes, and more, all with the goal of issuing your payments timely and correctly. First, let's discuss some end of summer scenarios and changes that providers are required to report using some examples. Alex is 6 years old and he will be in school full-time starting August 23rd. The parent tells you on August 1st that he will no longer need care as of the 23rd. So what must you report and when must you report it? You must report that Alex will no longer be enrolled, and you must report this no later than August 25th. Wait, you think, can't I just report this during certification? Can I continue to be paid based on enrollment? You can report this change during August certification. However, if you certify after the September benefit has already been issued, you will have an overpayment for September in this scenario. Remember, August certification can be done up through the 31st, but September subsidies will be issued in our system on August 30th. For ongoing cases, subsidies are normally issued a couple of days prior to the start of the following month, so that funds are actually available to you by the 1st. Since Alex is no longer considered enrolled after August 23rd, you may not continue to be paid based on enrollment for September forward. You may, however, retain the full payment for August since the parent did not give notice until August 1st. Now let's look at another scenario. It is now mid-September. Alex has been in school full-time since August 23rd. The parent has not reported to you that childcare is no longer needed, and you have not been able to reach her. Alex has not attended since school started, but you have been holding his spot. What do you do now? What must you report, and when must you report it? You must report on or before the 90th day of non-attendance that Alex is no longer in care. Unless the parent informs you that Alex will no longer be enrolled, and as long as you continue to hold the spot for him, you can be paid by enrollment for September, October, and November. You must report by the 90th day of non-attendance to stop the December payment. When reporting that a child has not attended for 90 days, report the 90th day of non-attendance, not the last date that the child actually attended. In this example, if you report on the 90th day, just report November 21st as the last day of enrollment. Also remember, once you are paid for the month, you need to hold the spot for the full month. You must report right away if you fill the spot, and you may have an overpayment for the remainder of the month. Now, what happens if you hold a spot for Alex all summer while he was visiting family, but he doesn't return to care as scheduled? What must you report, and when must you report it? You must report by the 90th day of non-attendance, even if you anticipate that Alex may still return to care. If he does return to care later in the same month or in the following month, report this to OCC and ask the parent to report also, and the case can be updated. Well, so far, we have reviewed some common scenarios under pay by enrollment. Now let's move on to rate changes. What do you do if Alex changes from full-time to part-time? If Alex is still enrolled and you do not offer part-time rates, you don't need to report anything. If you offer part-time rates, you do need to report the reduced part-time rate for Alex. So let's review how to report changes properly, rate changes. DWS uses two kinds of rates. The lowest reported rate is used to calculate subsidy payments. Care About Child Care, or CAC rates, should always reflect your regular full-time rates. CAC rates apply to all children of each age group in your care. Lower or discounted custom rates and part-time rates apply only to the child that they are reported for and supersede any higher CAC rate. These changes are reported for an individual child in the DWS provider portal. Remember, rate changes reported in Care About Child Care and in the DWS provider portal take effect the following month. For example, any rates that you want to be applied for September subsidy must be entered in the correct systems in August. These rate changes must be reported by the 25th of the month prior to the change to prevent delays or payment errors. You can report the rate changes ahead of time. If you make a rate change on the 1st of the month, it won't take effect until the following month, even for new kids that start during the current month. It's best not to wait until the last minute. Let's say now you change your full-time rates for all kids in an age group, but you also offer reduced rates for part-time or some other discount. This would involve two rate changes. First, you must report your updated full-time rates or rates that affect all children on the Care About Child Care website. Number two, you must report a custom reduced rate on the DWS provider portal for each child that is charged a reduced rate. In our example, if Alex changes to part-time and you customarily offer reduced rates for part-time attendance, you would report a change for Alex in the provider portal. Only update CAC if you're changing the full-time rate for all children in a certain age group. Remember also that subsidy goes by age only, not by grade. If Alex is starting kindergarten and you have him in a kindergarten classroom, but he's actually 6 years old, subsidy will be paid according to his age. Well, we might have Alex figured out, but what about Brandy, his older sister? Let's review some additional pay by enrollment and rate change scenarios. Brandy is 12 and will be in middle school. Mom is changing her provider so that Brandy can go to the after-school program at her school. She will attend your center until 8:22 and then go to the new center. What must you report and when must you report it? Assume the parent tells you about this change on August 15th. You must report no later than 8:25 that Brandy will no longer be enrolled. What if the parent tells you on September 1st that Brandy isn't returning? The September payment has already been issued. You can keep the September payment based on enrollment if you hold the space, but you must report that Brandy is no longer enrolled in time to stop the following month's payment. If the parent never unenrolls the child and you save the space, you may continue to be paid for up to 90 days. Report the change by the 90th day of non-attendance. What about Brandy's charges for August? If you know ahead of time that Brandy won't attend the full month and you are reducing the charge for the month, you need to report this. Where and when do you report this rate change? You report in the DWS provider portal before the start of the month you are updating the rate for. Please note that a parent may report the change to DWS in time for 2 providers to be paid for August. And if they do, the payment may be split. The parent is responsible for any costs not covered by subsidy. The parent might also report the change of providers or the end of enrollment to DWS, but not to you. DWS must take action on parent reports. If the parent fails to meet their obligation under their contract with you, for example, to give notice, you cannot usually be paid by DWS for that time. Likewise, if the parent disenrolls their child for the following month, report the change within 10 days or no later than the 25th, even if the parent owes you additional notice. The parent may be responsible for paying you for their notice period. Now, let's say that you're Brandy's new provider. You enroll her and expect her to start on August 23rd, but she does not attend. What must you report, and when must you report it? You must report by August 25th that the child has not attended. If she starts later in the month or during September, the case can be updated and reopened. What happens if you are Brandy's new provider and she is attending, but you didn't get paid for August or September? What happened? If the parent did not report the change of providers to DWS in time, the previous provider may have been paid for all of August and even September, following the pay by enrollment policy. Even if you reported the start date, the parent must report the change of providers to DWS timely. If we cannot pay you, the parent will be responsible for paying you. Another issue that comes up frequently at the start of school is transportation to and from school. Remember that DWS does not pay for transportation costs, field trips, or other fees in addition to your normal charge for each child. If the subsidy does not cover the full cost of care, the parent is responsible to pay you the difference. Well, that's it for the slideshow. Please email us your questions and we'll be glad to answer anything that comes up. Thank you for joining us. We know your time is very valuable, and we hope that this refresher course will help you navigate the changes that occur during the back to school season, and hope that you all can earn an A+ in change reporting. Remember that the provider helpline staff are here to help and support you. Email any questions to occ@utah.gov or leave us a voice message. We also would like to ask you to think about topics that you would like us to cover in future webinars. We want the webinars to be as useful to you as possible. You will receive a survey soon by email asking for your input. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you earn that A+.